Have you ever sat down and wondered what the history behind unicorns is? Yeah, trust me, I know it's a bit of a weird question. I personally never really sat down and thought about it until one day I did. I know, but well, I'm sure you could imagine my surprise when I sat down to research them, only to find out that they were originally depicted as like aggressive and ferocious beasts. They used to look like they were taken straight out of a Meat Canyon video. Yeah, that guy with the disgusting drawings. Yeah. The unicorns that we see and are extremely common in media today are PG versions that have been fed to us in order to try to sell things that they're stamped on. I personally think that's quite interesting. They have undergone an extreme amount of change throughout time, and a driving part behind it, in my opinion, shocker, is money. Regardless, I think that the history behind them is actually quite interesting. Now, throughout time, unicorns have significantly shifted in what they are meant to represent. Initially, they were first noted by the ancient Greeks. There were depictions of single-horned beasts in their various forms of different art. These included drawings of them. Additionally, they also explicitly noted that these animals existed. Shortly after, the concept of unicorns was spread throughout the Middle East and North Africa. This was due to a book called Indica, which was written by Ctesias. This book was also transported via the Silk Road. One of the first well-known people to take note of unicorns was Julius Caesar. He actually takes note of a stag with a single horn, much taller and straighter than any seen before. However, these unicorns didn't exist just to exist. They were often used to represent something. For example, they are used in the Bible as an allegory for Christ. One instance of this is when they appear in Numbers 23:22. It reads, "God brought them out of Egypt. He hath as it were the strength of a unicorn." As you might be able to tell, here, unicorns are used to convey the idea of strength. Now, while I'm on the topic of unicorns under the lens of Christianity, I think that it is important to note that there is a very important translation error that often comes up in relation to unicorns inside the Bible. In her article regarding unicorns throughout history, Smith writes, during the 3rd century CE, Alexandrian scholars translating the Old Testament from Hebrew to Greek replaced the Hebrew word rem, meaning wild ox, with the Greek word monoceros. Excuse my pronunciation, because I know it's not great. However, I think it's important to note that due to this very odd mistranslation, the word unicorn appears in the Bible often where it shouldn't have. Due to this mistranslation, it often appeared in certain instances that are the opposite of what unicorns have been used to portray today. They are used to show something's ferocity and strength. I think that this is possibly where the entire concept of unicorns being aggressive and ferocious began to gain more popularity. One example that I found of unicorns being ferocious and aggressive while I was researching were some tapestries that were woven. Due to the tapestry's history, it is impossible to know exactly when they were woven. Regardless of this though, when looking at them, it is quite obvious that they are made to look more aggressive in comparison to their modern day counterparts. As I said earlier, unicorns haven't always looked the way they do now. As you can see in these tapestries, they look a lot more aggressive than you might think if you didn't know any better. There's a very distinct lack of vivid colors and positive, happy-go-lucky energy when looking at these unicorns. This is because they had not yet been changed to their corporate, advertisement-friendly forms. They were still gnarly and aggressive beasts, very different from what they would end up changed to later in the future. Later down the line, unicorns are quite often used to represent purity and innocence. There are countless examples that could be pointed to in order to get my point across. I'm sure you're aware. I'm sure you could think of a few yourself. My personal favorite is Agnes's unicorn in the movie Despicable Me. The unicorn is used to show her personal innocence and purity. Anytime that she has it or is picturing it, she's transported to a dreamy and colorful world filled with cotton candy and other things of the sort. There's colorful clouds. I'm sure people who've seen the movie remember. This, in my opinion, is a particularly great example because it contradicts the way that she is characterized so extremely well. She is shown going through great lengths in order to obtain this unicorn again. She consistently threatens and even beats up the other minions in order to get it back. She's very protective over it. This is a very, very obvious foil. Another much more well-known example of unicorns in the current day is My Little Pony. I'm sure all of you saw this coming, but this is the way that most, if not all of us, are introduced to unicorns in the current day and age. They star in an extremely popular TV show, but they're also in movies as far as I'm aware. The main element that is pushed often through the show is the phrase, "friendship is magic." Yeah, I know, it's really cheesy. However, it pushes a very important concept to young boys and girls and helps promote a lot of important values. I personally mess with it. It's a show that I, like many others, watched growing up. Although I didn't watch it a lot. My personal favorite is Applejack. That's the right answer. But this ties into the general idea of how unicorns have been changed to represent something so insanely different from what they used to be. The unicorns are used to push important, although very cheesy values on the children. And trust me, it works well. And I mean, it works really well. I'm sure both me and you are both very aware of how popular My Little Pony is. I mean, just think about it, it's everywhere. It's so popular that it's transcended its audience of children, and it's popular with grown adults. Like, I could go outside today and probably just see someone walking around with a My Little Pony t-shirt on. Now, the year is 2026. The unicorn apocalypse is upon us. Everywhere you look, there's a unicorn slapped on something. Anything and everything has been affected, ranging from TV shows to desserts. Earlier today, I had some unicorn ice cream. I know you, yes you, have had some unicorn ice cream at one point in your life or another. Like I said, I have too. It's good. But let's not ignore that unicorns are everywhere that they could possibly be. They have shifted from being something that had deep implications, used to represent a being's strength, and they've now lost all of that. They even, at some point, they represented purity and innocence, and now it's just a cheap marketing tactic. However, I personally don't think this is as bad as everyone thinks. I truthfully find it To be honest, I don't think it's as bad as I've made it sound. I think it's quite interesting how the idea behind unicorns has been almost bleached, and it's been replaced with a fresh new idea that is available to a wider audience and is a lot more applicable in your everyday life. Thank you for watching.